I don't know if anyone happened to notice that 2016 was considered the year of the $10 cauliflower. It's likely that a lot of you didn't, because really that kind of information, unless you're vegetable forward, just really slides right under the radar. Although you might have been aware of it on some level in your grocery bill each week. By December of last year, news media were reporting how grocers were not bringing in certain fruit and vegetable items because the costs were too high and shoppers simply weren't buying them. It seems a little unreal. We've grown up expecting to be able to go into a grocery store and get anything, anytime, anywhere. But I want you to consider, how would you feel if tomorrow you walked into the store and the shelves really were mostly empty? So you might be thinking, well, how can that be? Let's take Venezuela as an example. It's a country that depends on oil exports for its economy. It's also a country that hasn't really developed its domestic food supply. So in 2014, when world oil prices dropped, suddenly Venezuela didn't have enough money to import enough food to feed its citizens. So to this day, Venezuelans are still facing long grocery lineups, food shortages, and astronomical prices for basic goods. So you might be thinking, okay, well that's them, it's not us. For over a decade now, scientists have been warning us that there have been massive die-offs of bee colonies all around the world. In Canada and the United States, bees are at their lowest population numbers in over half a century. 1 out of every 3 things that we like to eat come from plants that need bees. In a few minutes, we're going to be breaking for lunch. And I heard a lot of you clapping and cheering for pizza early this morning. So imagine your meal without bees. There's going to be no green peppers on your slice. There won't be any onions or garlic for flavor. And there's definitely not going to be any tomato sauce either for your pizza. Okay, we'll take the crust. We're going to fold it over the pepperoni and cheese. We're going to call it a calzone, and we can still eat, right? Not so fast. Because in the Midwestern United States, the largest underground water source is called the Ogallala Aquifer. It supplies water to 8 states, from South Dakota all the way down to Texas. This region produces 1/5 of all the wheat and corn and cattle in the United States, if not North America. At the current rate of watering, the Ogallala is being predicted to run out of water for growing crops in about 20 years. So now, imagine your lunch. Without any pepperoni or cheese, because we don't have enough crops to feed the hogs and cattle. And there's likely no crust either, because wheat is simply too expensive. We've been getting groceries off store shelves for decades, with the benefit of an abundant food supply and selection. So what's changed? Well, in the beginning, Norman Borlaug, known as the father of the Green Revolution, he dedicated his life to improving agriculture so that he didn't have to watch people die from lack of food. His efforts were so revolutionary at the time that he's credited with saving over 1 billion people from starvation. And he was awarded a Nobel Peace Prize for his scientific work. What we didn't expect, though, is how this green revolution would change our outlook on food. Food plays a really powerful role in our lives. It's a part of key memories that we hold in our hearts. It can even make us feel loved and secure. The very thing that nourishes us and is critical to our health and well-being, we've actually turned into big business. Today's agri-food industry relies on big farms and big inputs and big production to be economical, because the goal of food has become the profit margin. So along the way, as our farms have gotten bigger and bigger, we've had to rely on heavy-duty, high-tech equipment in order to manage the size of these farms. Well, this kind of conventional agriculture is eroding soil. Let me use your thumb as an illustration. From the top of your thumb to the first joint represents almost 500 years of biological soil building activity. In the last century, most farmland in North America has lost about 8 of these because of soil erosion. The system we constructed to feed us is showing its weaknesses. Big inputs to get big production means we've been using chemicals to try and feed the world, even though we're applying chemicals to a biology system of plants and organisms. So since 2001, scientists have been monitoring a dead zone in the Gulf of Mexico. And this dead zone is roughly half the size of Vancouver Island. And it's mostly due to fertilizer runoff that concentrates in outlet areas where the streams and rivers meet the oceans. It's only one of 450 known dead zones in the oceans around the world. So we can keep doing exactly what we've been doing, or we can make a change. How would you feel if tomorrow you could walk over to your local urban farm and get your fresh local food? Really simply, urban agriculture is the art of using small spaces in the heart of cities for growing food. In some cases, like mine, the farmer uses a vacant lot. In other setups, a farmer will convert lawns from people's yards. And in Montreal, one group is building greenhouses on top of warehouse spaces in order to cultivate produce in the heart of the city. All of us urban farmers are trying to bring the country into the city so we can grow food closer to home. Urban agriculture is a type of renaissance, which literally means rebirth. If you Google urban farming, you're going to get over 200,000 hits popping up on your computer. But long before the internet in 1902, a fellow by the name of Ebenezer Howard wrote about the garden cities of tomorrow. And I really like how that sounds so hopeful and poetic. And he was trying to promote the combination of town and country, saying that it wasn't just economic, but it was healthful as well. And more recently, at the World Expo in Italy, cities from all over the globe signed a pact pledging to coordinate urban food strategies. Urban agriculture is a movement that is literally gaining ground in cities all over the world. The main force driving this trend at the government level is that the World Health Organization estimates that we have to increase global food supply by 70% over the next 30 years. We're facing some of the same challenges that Norman Borlaug did before the Green Revolution. You live in a city that is the 3rd fastest growing in this province. Your community is expected to grow by over 50% in the same 30-year time period. The good news is you already have your first urban farm. When you get your produce from an urban farm, you're bringing home items that were harvested within hours of your meal. You can't get more farm to table than that. At the beginning of my efforts, I took a poll asking people, what's your favorite memory of summer fresh produce? Maybe some things come to mind for you that are here tonight. What I found was that the most popular answer was carrots, fresh out of the ground with the dirt still on them. Ultimately, we seem to have a collective awareness. Fresh food should taste fresh. And it's no wonder. We have about 10,000 taste buds in our mouth. We're meant to taste and enjoy what we eat. I have a lot of fun surprising people what you can grow in an urban farm. Last year, we grew watermelons and cantaloupes, and the best one weighed in at over 7.5 pounds. As more of us consume food grown within our cities, availability and price is only going to get better. Growing produce in the heart of a city doesn't just bring fresh food to the consumer. It also makes an environmental impact. Urban agriculture reclaims spaces in cities, and it creates mini zones where plants take carbon dioxide out of the atmosphere, and it helps reduce greenhouse gases. In cities, bees and pollinators have trouble getting enough food, but an urban farm gives them a place to fuel up, free from pesticides and chemicals. One of the best natural resources found near an urban farm is roof runoff on rainy days. One of my major goals for this season is to establish rainwater harvest and storage so that we can irrigate our fruit and vegetables over the summer using the collected rainwater instead of municipal supply. I've been asked if it's difficult promoting urban agriculture here in the Fraser Valley, in the heart of one of Canada's best growing regions. And the answer really is not at all. In fact, what I'm finding is that most people are really excited and really enthusiastic, sometimes even more than me. And my biggest problem as an urban farmer is that I'm so accessible to people passing by my site that they always want to stop and ask questions and talk, and sometimes talk and talk. The best conversation I had was with a young woman who lived and worked in the area, and she was on her way home after work, and she stopped by just to tell me how much safer she was feeling in the neighborhood because of the changes made to the vacant lot. A very real side effect of urban agriculture is how it softens the asphalt and concrete in our cities. I think Audrey Hepburn said it really well. To plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow. We can keep doing things exactly the way we've always been doing them, or we can make a change. Urban agriculture is like a do-over for the Green Revolution, because we're not just trying to supply more food. This time, we're trying to grow local food security so that you can have access to safe, nutritious, and affordable food. And when you choose to take this opportunity to change the food system, you're joining with people all over the globe who are excited about urban agriculture and this movement. Urban agriculture is all of us together taking part to solve the food challenges before us. And along the way, the bonus is you'll get to taste and see that it's good.